For millennia, the greatest civilizations on Earth have pointed to the same secret, hidden silently in the very center of the human brain. A tiny organ, the size of a pea, protected like a jewel by bone and tissue, invisible to the ordinary senses, the pineal gland. To medical science, it has always been just an obscure part of the endocrine system, regulating hormones, sleep cycles, perhaps helping us dream. But ancient traditions knew something that science is only now beginning to suspect. Why did cultures so far apart call this same spot the seat of the soul? Why did Egyptians, Hindus, shamans and mystics insist that it is an eye that sees beyond matter? And why, in so many forgotten texts, is it described as the key to traversing worlds, to contacting forces and intelligences that exist beyond our knowledge? Modern research, conducted in cutting-edge laboratories, has revealed properties of this organ that no one had anticipated. Microscopic crystals capable of emitting light and responding to subtle fields, mysterious molecules that can completely alter the perception of reality. What does this mean? Could we be carrying within us a true interdimensional portal, dormant, waiting to be awakened? If true, opening this portal is not just a scientific curiosity, it is a journey that promises to free your consciousness from the bonds of time and space, a path to remember who you really are, to experience dimensions where the mind has no limits and the soul finds its home again. What lies hidden in this secret corner of the brain? Why have so many traditions risked everything to protect this knowledge? And why is it that now, of all times, science is beginning to uncover evidence that confirms ancient prophecies? Answering these questions could radically change everything you thought possible, and perhaps reveal that reality is much greater than we ever dreamed. As a child, Eduardo already felt that there was something different about him. While the other boys played ball and ran through the streets, he would lose himself in long silences, staring at the starry sky, feeling a calling he couldn't explain. At night, he would often wake up sweaty, with tears streaming down his face, after dreams so intense that they seemed more real than life itself. He would see places that didn't exist on any map, cathedrals of light suspended in the void, endless gardens, beings with glowing eyes that watched him wordlessly. He felt fear, but also a strange sense of belonging, as if he were returning home every time he closed his eyes. Adults said they were just nightmares, but deep down, Edward knew they weren't just dreams. As he grew older, he learned to hide them, afraid of being called crazy, but the visions continued, getting stronger and stronger. At the age of 28, exhausted by the feeling of emptiness that everyday life brought him, he decided to look for answers. That's how he discovered an ancient breathing and meditation practice focused on the third eye. For weeks on end, he dedicated himself to exercises that promised to awaken the pineal gland. Then, one silent morning, sitting in the dark, he felt a growing pressure between his eyebrows. It was as if a beam of light began to spin inside his head. The air seemed electrified. Suddenly, his consciousness was sucked out of his body, and he found himself walking through a corridor of light and shadow where time did not exist. On the other side, he felt a love so overwhelming that he burst into tears, unable to contain what seemed to be a reunion with something greater than anything he had ever experienced. This experience not only shook his beliefs, but also awakened in him an insatiable thirst for understanding. What exactly had happened, and how could it be possible? From that moment on, the search for answers ceased to be a curiosity and became a profound spiritual calling, as if a portal had been opened forever. As Eduardo delved deeper into his journey, each discovery seemed to push him one step beyond the reality he knew. In ancient books, he found that the Egyptians not only carved the Eye of Horus as a symbol of divine protection, but also as an accurate representation of the pineal gland in anatomical sections of the brain. This coincidence was more than intriguing. For Hindus, the Ajna chakra, or third eye, is located at exactly the same point and is described as the door that opens to see the truth beyond the illusions of the physical world. As he studied, Eduardo began to realize that all these traditions converged on the same idea. The gland was not only responsible for regulating biological cycles, but also had the ability to tune the mind to more subtle dimensions of existence. What began as curiosity turned into reverence. The nights became long, filled with lucid dreams, encrypted messages, and a strange sensation that someone, or something, was watching him, guiding his steps. When he came across scientific reports of apatite microcrystals in the pineal gland with piezoelectric properties, something inside him clicked. If these crystals really did respond to magnetic fields, perhaps they acted as an antenna capable of picking up signals from other dimensions. But the greatest revelation was yet to come. Amidst scientific studies and spiritual rituals, he came across a manuscript that promised to reveal the true secret of the pineal gland, knowledge so powerful that, according to the texts, it could only be understood by those ready to abandon illusion altogether. And Eduardo felt more and more strongly that this secret was waiting for him, just waiting for the right moment to reveal itself. Researchers such as Dr. Rick Strassman, author of studies on DMT, an endogenous psychedelic substance, have proposed that the pineal gland is responsible for producing this molecule at critical moments such as birth and death, facilitating transitions in consciousness. For Tibetan monks, the pineal gland is a dormant flower that can bloom through rigorous spiritual practices, granting glimpses of the subtle plane. Vedic texts describe the activation of this center as a state in which the illusion of duality dissolves, allowing direct communion with the divine. Eduardo also spoke with scientists who affirmed that, despite their skeptical tones, the biophysical potential of the pineal gland to interact with external electromagnetic fields is real. This combination of tradition and science begins to paint an intriguing picture. The concrete possibility that the pineal gland is, in fact, a biological mechanism for accessing other dimensions. As fascinating as these discoveries are, there are still huge gaps to be filled. Preliminary tests have revealed that the gland emits a faint light, bioluminescence, under specific conditions. What does this light mean? Is it simply a biological phenomenon or a sign of unknown processes? There are also reports of people who, after intensely activating the pineal gland, report memories that do not belong to their current life, encounters with luminous beings, and journeys through landscapes impossible to describe with words. Science still does not explain how such experiences occur. Are they just hallucinations or true glimpses of other realities? There are indications in experiments with magnetic fields that the pineal gland can function as a subtle receptor for energies that escape our ordinary detection. But the question remains, what really happens when this portal opens completely? For Eduardo, the journey was not just about passing through mysterious portals. Since he began practicing techniques to activate the pineal gland, he reports a notable increase in intuition, greater mental clarity, and a deep sense of connection with everything around him. The nightmares of his childhood gave way to lucid dreams, full of symbolic messages that seemed to guide him. Research also suggests that stimulating the pineal gland is linked to heightened states of psychological well-being, reducing symptoms of anxiety and awakening feelings of inner peace. Like Eduardo, thousands of people report that this activation opens an inner space of silence and understanding, bringing answers to existential questions that previously seemed unreachable, as if the night visions of his childhood finally made sense, revealing that the portal was never really closed, just forgotten. And so, the question that still echoes remains. If science is only scratching the surface of this enigma, what else is hidden in the depths of this small gland? Could it be a reliquary of universal memories, a transmitter of consciousness, or the key to realms that defy known laws? Perhaps the answer already lies within each of us, waiting to be awakened. Between the shadows and the light, between the known and the invisible, the pineal gland remains as a silent guardian of secrets yet to come. And perhaps when you least expect it, it will finally open, revealing that the border between worlds has always been closer than we imagine.